How to create an alias record. This is what you are going to learn in this video. A quick reminder, a CNAME alias record allows you to provide an alternate name to an existing host record. For example, you want to give your file server a name you can remember easier instead of the complicated host name. So you create an alias record and give it, for example, the following name, files. It will be easier for you to remember this alias name when you need to access your file server. To create an alias CNAME record, open the DNS manager. Then select your domain zone under the forward lookup zone. On the right panel, just right-click to display the context menu. Then click on New Alias CNAME entry. In the first text zone, I will type my alias name, files. In the fully qualified domain name zone, I must enter the name of the host referred by the alias. I will just browse and search for the host name. Here is my file server. I will select it and validate. My alias is now created and is referring to my file server with this fully qualified domain name. Now let's do a test. I'm going to switch to the Windows 10 box right here and try to reach my file server using the alias name. I will just type ping followed by the alias name, files, and I get a reply from my file server. Another test I am going to do is connecting a mapped network drive to a shared folder located on the file server. My drive letter will be Z, and I select the shared folder. Notice that I am using here the alias name to refer to my file server. I click Finish to validate. You can see that the mapped drive has been created. Okay? What I'm going to do now is to change the file server name and see how this will impact the configuration I set for mapping the network drive. One of the benefits of using alias names is that it will avoid me to do changes on every machine that refer to the host which I changed the name. So for example, if I use the file server host name instead of the alias to map network drives on 100 workstations, when the file server name changes, I must go on each workstation and map the network drive using the new file server name. I let you imagine the task. So, enough talking. I will switch to the file server, click on local server, click on computer name. I click on the change button. Let's say I will change the two first letters. I will replace DZ by US. Okay. I am asked to enter the admin credentials to perform these operations. Now I must restart the computer to reflect the changes. Now that the file server has restarted, I will switch to the DNS server to make changes on the alias name parameters. First, I will refresh the view to make sure that the new file server name has been registered on the DNS server. Yes, it has been registered. But the alias name is still referring to the old file server name. I need to change that manually. So I am going to double click on the alias record and put the new file server name here. I will just browse and select the file server. Okay. And now the alias is referring to the correct file server name. So now I am going on the Windows 10 machine to check if the file server name change has any impact on my config. Let's start by a ping test. First, I need to empty the cache to be sure I am dealing with the recent DNS data. Let's issue the ping command. and I get a reply from the file server with the new hostname. Now let's test the mapped drive. I double click and my mapped drive is still connected and I can access the content. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.